Hello everyone, welcome to Rookie Watch, and I've sort of had to change my plans. I was going to do a video for each draft pick in the first round, but I can't do that because I messed up the editing. I had all the videos recorded, just had to edit them separately, but I got them in the wrong order, so I'm just going to do it as a full video, 19th pick to the first overall pick. So let's get right into it with the 19th pick, which is the Washington Redskins pick. No, Washington football team, sorry. And they picked Jamin Davis, linebacker. And for me, I think the pick is all right. Personally, I would have picked Christian Darrisaw. I think it would have been smart to invest in an offensive lineman. A year before, you were going to pick one in the draft, because next year they should pick a quarterback. Hopefully, they will pick a quarterback in the draft. So getting a guy in the first round this year instead of getting one in the second round next year makes a lot more sense. You'll get a better player, and he'll have a year of experience in the NFL. So I would have picked Christian Darrisaw. I think it would have been a more logical pick than Jamin Davis. But again, there is no doubt Jamin Davis is a good player, physically very good, and he does have production, which was something that a lot of the late first round picks in defense didn't have. So I think it's a decent pick, but it could have been better. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it a B. Next pick was from the Miami Dolphins, and I picked Jaden Phillips, edge rusher, and for me, I don't know how I feel about this pick. Obviously, Miami Dolphins being my favourite team, I thought Kwity Paye was still on the board, and that's who I would have picked. They definitely needed an edge rusher, but you can't look past the concerns of his concussion history. I think picking a bit of a risky pick in Jalen Waddle, obviously him having his ankle problems, you need to get sort of a nailed on performer. They're not nailed on because they are rookie, but more of a chance of him performing in the NFL. And I think Kwity Paye offers you that. The way I'm looking at it is the gap in their ceiling bigger than the gap in their sort of concerns of injury? It definitely isn't. I think obviously Jaden Phillips, he has got the highest ceiling out of all the edge rushers, but if he's getting all these concussions in college, I think and it's a lot softer than the NFL. How many really get in the NFL? So I still think it's an alright pick, very risky. So I'm going to give it a B. Next pick was the Las Vegas Raiders pick, and they picked Alex Leatherwood, offensive lineman. And I think they did exactly what Washington should have done. Picking an offensive lineman before you pick a quarterback next year. I don't think Derek Carr has this. They've gave him time. I don't think he performed to the level that they would have wanted him to. So I think now it's time to move on, get a new quarterback next year. So getting a guy like Alex Leatherwood to give you that. Just picking a guy in the first round this year instead of picking one in the second round next year makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like this pick a lot. I think it's very smart. I think it's what Washington should have done. So I'm gonna give it an A. Very solid pick. Next pick, Zaven Collins from Arizona Cardinals, linebacker. And I absolutely love this pick. I think it makes so much sense to pick a versatile linebacker. It makes the linebacker core even stronger. I think you look at the offenses in their division, they differ in speciality. San Francisco, the play action kings. You got the Seattle Seahawks, or sort of deep throwing team. A lot of deep throws that they are passing offense, and a lot of their passes are deep, with people like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson throwing the ball. And then LA Rams, who are sort of more of a running team, with Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel and Cam Akers. So a lot of different styles of offense there. And so getting a versatile linebacker makes a lot of sense. I think you look at their defense now, and there's a lot of stars there. Budda Baker, I think he's one of the top 5 safeties in the league. And then the linebacker core of Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins, young, versatile, really like that. And then obviously J.J. Watt, Hall of Fame pass rusher there as well. So very good in my opinion, really like it. So I really like to pick A+. Next pick was Mac Jones, New England Patriots. And I mean, I'm not happy that I picked him because obviously I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, but you said to a Patriots fan before the draft, you're not gonna have to move from 15, and you're gonna get one of the top 5 quarterbacks, they would have been absolutely chuffed. So, and that's exactly what they did. I think it's just very good. I think with Bill Belichick, I think he can make Mac Jones a very good quarterback. We've already seen in pre-season how well he's done. And I think it's a good pick. I'm going to give it, this is an A, very good pick. Next pick is the 14th overall pick, which was from the New York Jets. They moved up 9 spots to get themselves an offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker, a guard, but they needed a guard more than a tackle, so that makes sense. I think it makes life easier for Zach Wilson, just a smart pick. They knew they could get some weapons later on in the draft, so they thought investing in the quality offensive lineman would have been better, and it was. I really like this pick. I think it's smart. Just going to give it an A, very solid. The question you have got asked though is moving up 9 spots sort of and giving up all that draft capital, is it worth the gap in quality between Vera Tucker, Leatherwood and Darisaw? And I think it is. I think they needed a guard more than a tackle, so I think it was a good move. That's why I've given it an A. Next pick was from the Los Angeles Chargers, and he picked Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman. And for me, what a pick this is. Just thinking nobody thought he would fall at 13. It baffles me why Dallas and Philadelphia didn't pick him. I think it's just people tipping him as best offensive lineman in the draft. Chargers picking best player on the board, and it was a position in need as well, which is a bit of a sort of Brucey bonus. So yeah, very good pick. Just what more is there to say then? Just an outstanding pick, I think. Yeah, A+. Next pick was from Dallas, and I sort of spoke about it in the previous pick. It baffled me why they didn't pick Rashawn Slater. They moved down 2 spots, which has shocked a lot of people, especially because it was with their divisional rivals. So you thought, oh, that's strange. They must be waiting. Must think Rashawn Slater will fall to 12, but no, they fall to 12 to get Micah Parsons, who, in my opinion, is still a good pick. He reminds me of a Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker, sort of flies around the pitch, very clever. He knows when to pressure the quarterback. When there's a gap, he's gonna go, and he's pretty good tackler as well. Only issue is him in coverage, but you'd like to think that could be coached. So I think it's still a good pick, but it isn't as good as it could be. So I think Rashawn Slater would have been much better. Dallas win on offense, so why not get the offense better? I'm sort of struggling because I do like Micah Parsons, but I think I gave Washington a B because I said it's a good pick but could have been better. But I think this is different, so I'm going to give it an A-. Next pick was Chicago Bears. Moved up 9 spots to get Justin Fields. Should they have done that? Absolutely. They needed a quarterback, and they got a quarterback. And in my opinion, the 3rd best quarterback in the whole draft. I think it was a good move to move up to 20, to move up to 11 from 20. Sorry. I think it's just solid pick, good move. The draft capital is, in my opinion, worth Justin Fields. I think if they can sort of get this Chicago Bears offense playing like the Arizona Cardinals offense, which is sort of like you've got a quarterback that can run the ball, but also has got a great arm, throws the ball very deep, and that is what Kyler Murray does. But then throwing the ball deep to his main wide receiver, and in Arizona's case, DeAndre Hopkins, but the Chicago Bears one would be Allen Robinson, and then having a dual threat running back core with, and Arizona got James Conner and Chase Edmonds. Chicago could have Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. So I think if they can get it playing like the Arizona Cardinals offense with a bit more sort of creative play calling, I think it'll be a very good offense. So I think that's a pretty solid pick. And the next pick, which was the Eagles, they picked Devontae Smith, and like the Dallas Cowboys, they should have picked Rashawn Slater. Obviously they did need help their offense, but last year they picked a wide receiver in the 1st round as well. They do have weapons in that Philadelphia offense. I think last year they didn't seem like that because there was a lot of injuries, but a couple of practice squad guys proved themselves to be decent in the NFL, so they can sort of stay on the roster. You've got Zach Arts there as well, and obviously Jalen Rieger, who they picked last year. I think an offensive lineman was much more of a need. So that's who I would have picked for Sean State there. I think, like the Dallas and Washington, both were in the same division. They could have been a better pick there, but so I'm gonna give it a B. Now I gave Dallas a better grade than both of them. It was similar scenario, but I gave them a better grade because I think Dallas had a terrible unit last year, and Dallas had an absolutely shocking unit on defense, so it was a need. But for Philadelphia and Washington, do Washington need the linebacker? Not really. Do Philadelphia need the wide receiver as much as an offensive lineman? Not really. Dallas need to get somebody on defense, and especially with the worries about Leighton Van Der Esch and his injury. That's why I've given them a higher grade than both Philadelphia and Washington. And then the next pick is the 9th overall pick, which was the Broncos. And they picked Patrick Surtain. A lot of people saying they should have picked a quarterback. And they probably should have. Justin Fields would have been a good pick here, but they did need a cornerback last year. They had the least turnovers in the league. I think their defense is starting to become a real threat again. Obviously, Vic Fangio being a great defensive coach, getting Von Miller back and healthy. Obviously, Bradley Chubb is a threat in the pass rush as well. And now Patrick Surtain can really sort of help with those turnovers, with the lack of turnovers that they had last year. So cornerback definitely was a position in need, but I would have picked Justin Fields. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, and I feel like if you give him time, maybe he can show himself to be better. But there must be something laying why all teams are getting rid of him. If Carolina Panthers are getting rid of him for Sam Darnold, then there must be some underlying issues that I don't know about. But I think quarterback was more of a position, and he, like a couple of teams I've said so far, good pick, but it could have been better. But this one I'm gonna do similar to Dallas. I'm gonna give it an A-. They needed a cornerback, and they got one. I think he was the better out of JC Horn and Surtain, so yeah, pretty solid pick. Next pick was the 8th pick by Carolina, and this one is worse than Denver. Very similar situation, but a lot worse in my opinion. They needed a quarterback more. They do. Seems like they're going to trust in Sam Darnold. In my opinion, I wouldn't. I think he was playing in a division when he was sort of on his rookie contract with the New York Jets. He was playing in an incredibly weak division. He was playing against the Bills team that wasn't as strong as it was now. It was an 8-8, 9-7 football team. He was playing against the shocking Miami Dolphins, one of the worst teams in the last decade. And obviously the Patriots, who obviously a good team at that point, but still there's two not great teams, and people saying, oh, it was in a tough division. It was tough, and didn't have a good team around him. And yeah, I agree with that. I didn't have a good team around him, but I didn't see that many flashes of greatness. I think every 3 games he did something that Patrick Mahomes does every quarter. So I didn't see anything crazily good from him. So I don't think he's that proven. I would have picked Justin Fields here. I think Justin Fields is a lot better than Sam Darnold. So I think JC Horn, it's a decent pick. I think their defense is very young, very exciting, and JC Horn will only add to that. But it could have been better, so I'm going to give it a B-. Next pick was the 7th overall pick, and it was Detroit Lions. A+ straight away, grading it straight away, because bringing an offensive lineman, one of the most important positions on the roster, and they got them one of the most important positions on the roster. Thinking nobody thought he would fall to 7, so I think they got the best player on the board. Yeah, it's just a very good pick, so A+. Next pick, Miami Dolphins pick, Jalen Waddle. I love this pick. I'm going to give it an A, because Jalen Waddle, they need weapons for Tua. They could have picked Penei Sewell, and obviously Jamar Chase was gone at this point. But Jalen Waddle offers a lot more creativity in the play scheme. We've seen it in pre-season. They're sort of trying to run him in a lot of trick plays. They're trying to play him like the Chiefs play with Tyreek Hill, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think he can really, if he utilizes pace, I think, and let's not. The thing that Jalen Waddle had below these other two wide receivers, Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, was his route running and his ankle. I don't think the ankle is that much of an issue. We've seen in pre-season, he looks pretty solid. The ankle's not that much of a worry anymore. And his route running has been very good recently. I don't think his route running is that bad. It was just sort of low down because Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith's route running is just unbelievably good. So I think this pick, I really like this pick, so that's why I've given it an A. 5th row pick, Bengals pick Jamar Chase. Bit different with this pick. I don't understand why you pick a wide receiver. I understand he played with Joe Burrow and he played with Joe Burrow very well. But you've got Tyler Boyd there, you've got T. Higgins, and they're trying to, obviously you did lose AJ Green in free agency, but you don't really need a wide receiver, but you do need an offensive lineman. Penei Sewell was there for the taking, and you didn't take him. I think he would have made more of an impact on the team. I would have picked Penei Sewell over, so I'm going to give it a B. It could have been a lot better, so yeah, I'm going to give it a B. Next pick, Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts, best player in the draft, in my opinion. I like this pick a lot, and people saying they're going to pick a quarterback. I still think Matt Ryan's decent. He has obviously got to the Super Bowl. He did bottle it, but he has got to one. So he's a decent quarterback. I think he is a bottler. You can see it sometimes when he's running the ball. He's scared to fight for that extra yard, but he's still a decent quarterback, and he's got a very good connection with people like Calvin Ridley. Hopefully, he can form one of those good connections with Kyle Pitts, and I think he can. I think he can sort of get the production that Hugo Jones was having, recover that production. Yeah, I think it's a solid pick, an A. Next pick, 3rd overall pick, San Francisco jumped up from 12 to get a quarterback. Did they need one? They had Jimmy Garoppolo there, but again, I like this pick for an offense that plays a lot of play action. A guy like Trey Lance gives you even more creativity with play action. I think he has that. He can run the ball. Very good arm. Throws a lot of his bullet passes outstanding. We've seen it in a couple of games in the pre-season. He was sort of zipping the passes in, 10-yard passes, zipping them in very nicely, especially against the LA Chargers. I think he's also under the least pressure out of all the rookie quarterbacks. He's got a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo behind him, so he doesn't need to necessarily perform outstandingly well at the start. So yeah, I think it's a solid pick. People are saying San Francisco will be gutted that they haven't picked Matt Jones, but I don't think they need to be gutted. The season's not even started yet, so no, I don't think there's any need to worry for San Francisco with that pick. So I'm going to give him an A. Next pick, 2nd overall pick, New York Jets pick Zach Wilson, and for me, it's a strange pick. Zach Wilson came out of the College of Bayou, a very not a proven college, and he hasn't played the top 10 college team either. I think it's a very risky pick. He did play well in pre-season, but I don't know. I think there's something about it with the whole Jets scouting team. I think he's going to be a flop, but he's yet to see. Hopefully he can prove me wrong. I think they needed a quarterback. They picked a quarterback. It was sort of who everybody tipped them to pick in the mock draft. It's not an awful pick, but in my opinion, I would have picked a guy like Justin Fields. Yeah, I think Justin Fields. I wouldn't have picked Trey Lance because Trey Lance doesn't suit the Jets offense as much as Justin Fields does. Trey Lance is a bit more. He's more fitted to the San Francisco, so it's more fitting to the San Francisco offense. I mean, if San Francisco weren't there, I think Trey Lance would have fell as like the 5th quarterback. But so that's why I would have picked Justin Fields over. I think Justin Fields can run the ball, can throw the ball, got a very good arm, and sort of suits the way that it looks like they're going to be playing. They've got a lot of deep threat weapons there. Most of their weapons are deep threat, with Elijah Moore being a deep threat weapon, and then a lot of running backs in this game as well, picking one in Michael Carter in the drafts. I would have picked Justin Fields, but still, they did pick Zach Wilson. Pretty good pick. So, yeah, A. Nah, A minus actually. Next pick, Trevor Lawrence, A+. Who else were they going to pick? I didn't see a mock draft where Trevor Lawrence didn't go at first overall. I don't know what I can really say about his pick. It's just very solid. There was nobody else they were going to pick. So yeah, A+.